The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed during this or any broadcast belong solely to our guests or our hosts. These broadcasts do not represent or reflect the views of their employers, sponsors, or affiliated organizations.
Get ready to flip your perspective on education. Welcome to the Flipboard EDU podcast, where every story is a plus. Join us as we explore innovative ideas, share stories, and discover the power of collaboration in the world of education.
We dive deep into the latest trends, strategies, and resources to enhance teaching and learning. From EdTech tools to classroom management tips, we've got you covered. Let's collaborate, communicate, and educate with the best educators in the world right here on the Flipboard EDU podcast with your favorite coach, Coach Jeffrey.
Welcome back, Flipboard fam. This is your favorite coach, Coach Jeffrey. And today's episode, we speak with the incredible Randy Richards, an educator with over a decade of experience and a former administrator who has dedicated her career to making a lasting impact on teachers and students alike. Randy shares her unique journey from the business world to the classroom, detailing her inspirational approach to giving clear and kind, actionable feedback. We'll dive into her experiences working in various educational capacities and explore her future plans, including her new consultancy, the Grain LLC. Randy also provides valuable advice for new administrators and reveals insights from her book, Before the First Day, a guide aimed at supporting new teachers. This episode is packed with wisdom, encouragement, and practical tips for anyone involved in education, so don't miss out. So like we always do about this time, let's collaborate, communicate, and educate with the best educators in the world right here on Flipboard EDU podcast. Welcome back, Flipboard. This is your favorite coach, Coach Jeffrey, and I have another amazing guest on the show tonight, Miss Randy Richards. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Coach. Thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. Now, Randy, you tell our listening audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure, absolutely. So I am an educator. I have been teaching for over a decade. I started in New York City in the Bronx at a charter school out there, transitioning from the business world. I knew I needed to be in education. I knew that was my calling. I'm still finding my platform where I need to be, where I can be the most help. But I am still excited to be in it with all the changes that have happened. And I'm really just looking forward to continuing to make an impact for the community.
Excellent. Now, Randy, let's talk a little bit about how we met. Let's tell our listening audience.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we were doing like a review, or let's say a practice of a session we had to do for our district to prepare teachers for the new school year. And so we had to do demos of our presentation. So I got a chance to give you feedback on your presentation. So I think that's how we really met. And it was inspiring.
Yes, it was inspiring. And so what I remember from the feedback session was I was brand new to this particular district. And what I appreciated was how thorough your feedback was on my part of my presentation. And so not that I haven't been used to that, I've always had wonderful coworkers who have been able to hold me accountable and show me different things. I just love the way in which you delivered feedback. And so that's one of the things that I admired about you from the very first time that I met you, and how you were able to give specific and actionable items to improve my craft. As we furthered along, it was certain times that I would introduce you to certain things that I was doing, and you would give me excellent feedback. And so I want to commend you, first of all, for the way you deliver timely and actionable feedback. And so my question to you was, were you an administrator?
Yes, I was absolutely an administrator. I've been in the district for a couple of years in different capacities, and they've all been surrounding supporting administrators, but I myself was an administrator for a couple of years. And through those experiences, I learned that people want help. And you assume the best first, and you offer the help first. And you don't assume anything other than that. And you make it clear.
So some administrators have an issue And I'm going to go back to myself when I first started as an administrator. I'm always looking at myself. So how did you hone in on being extremely clear, but kind in the same way?
Question. I think it started with identifying what I needed. I don't like being confused, right? When I think about the reality of being an administrator in a school year, you only have a few months, so you have to get it right. So what that means is you need to get it wrong quickly and fix it. And so in order for you to be able to do that, you have to be clear about what needs to be done. Just get to the point, but be kind about it. Just understanding that there needs to be a level of urgency in that feedback. But in order for somebody to act quickly, it has to be very clear what you're telling them to do. And so this was told to me. The person said to me, my mentor at the time, Randy, you need to be able to state your need. But I was shy about stating what I needed to happen, but I needed to be successful. Once I was able to do that for myself, I was able to identify that for other people and just stand there for that.
Let me tell you why I'm laughing, because that's exactly how you told me. Hey, take it or leave it, but this is what you need to do. And I said, oh, but it was so good. And so the practice is, I love that so much. That's why I love talking to you. I stop and I talk to you. I tell you that. I was like, man, I really appreciate how you told me what to do. Have you witnessed other administrators struggling with that? And did you ever try to dive in and try to help them with that?
Yeah, I have. I've witnessed it before. And I think a part of it is really just, they don't really know how to just bottle everything, put it in a nice package, a clear package, and just say what it is. You don't want to hurt the person's feeling. You don't want to diminish their ability. I think at the end of the day, the motivation has to be where you see that person landing, what potential you see them actually having, and then thinking that, putting that first in your head. If I think you can be great, I'm going to say certain things to you to push you in that direction. That how people, how they treat you, how they speak to you, what they really think about you. But if I see greatness in you, I'm going to speak to that instead of pointing it out. I'm really thinking about myself at the end of the day. It's not really about me. It's about this person who goes before the students, what they need to have to be successful. Because it trickles down, and we know that they're not good or the teacher's not right, that classroom is probably going to be a mess. Or it's going to look like a really good classroom, but kids are not learning because they're scared of the teacher and they don't like the teacher. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, for me, the motivation is what potential I see this person having. I think a lot of administrators, because there's so much to think about, they forget about the fact that you have teachers who in classrooms who are impacting trajectories and legacies in front of them. It's more than just me having this conversation with you. You're going to take something away from me. You're going to mull it over. Understanding that the work that you're doing is far, it reaches so much further than where you are in the moment, and leading with that lens helps you to just say the thing that needs to be said.
Say the thing that needs to be said. All right, Randy. So we got past, we was working together and working we worked in the same department, but on different things. And so let's inspire some people. So you did some work, some really good work. Let's talk about that a little bit. We won't mention the school district, not a big deal, but the people who you help is the most important thing.
Yeah, so I am extremely proud of the work that was done. The work that was done supported teachers, ultimately, by them wanting to continue in their teaching journey, right? And so the thing that motivated me each day, I'm all about building legacy. To me, every teacher that you help, every individual that you help along their journey, you're impacting their legacy, especially if you're able to transform their current living situation. That can transform their thinking and their outlook. Then they have, they'll have an impact on the students that they're serving because you're changing it that way. And so the department that I was in, the impact is what kept me grounded. It kept me focused because it matters. It's flesh and blood to deal with here, right? At the end of the day, it matters. And so that's really what drove my work to continue showing up every day with the positive attitude, with the smile.
I don't remember a time that I've ever seen you not smiling. Where does that energy come from to approach work in a fashion to what your spirit just even killed? I love that about you. How can I learn from you to do better at that?
To be honest with you, you could call it a filter, but a lot of things go in one ear and out the other. I've learned that something only becomes important if I give it importance. Something only is valuable if I give it value. You have to be very careful about what you're going to give value to. I just don't really care about a lot of stuff that went on. I wasn't there for none of that. Even though I heard a lot of things and observed, it didn't bother me because it didn't change what I needed to do. I was there to learn, to grow, to impact, and to make sure that when I walked out the door, I left differently than when I came. And you never know who's watching you. That's one of the first things that I learned. You never know who's watching, and they need never tell you that they're watching you, that they're learning so much from you. But because I know that, right? And that helps me to just stay steady. Like my faith that I have is very black and white. It is what it is. And that is the thing that,
Yeah. So you wrote a book. Tell us about the book that you wrote and the purpose of it, and then where can people find it?
Yes, absolutely. So the book is titled Before the First Day. And so the purpose of it is intended to give encouragement for anybody who's just either transitioning or to education for the first time. Just a little bit of encouragement, you can say that. A little bit of realism, what you can expect, and then how to get over it so that you can see yourself staying in there. And it was birthed out of my experience as a first-year teacher, feeling like, okay, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Kids really don't. But I learned very quickly that every single child wants, and every kid wants to learn. And it was a mentor that I had my first year that taught me that. Realistic scenarios that help new teachers to understand this is what you're going to deal with. This is what you're going to face. How this is just the beginning, and you were made for this. If you decide, I think I'm going to teach, you're probably made for it. So it's really just encouragement because I realized that is what I needed most in my first year as an educator. It wasn't the curriculum. It wasn't the training. It wasn't the meeting. It was literally somebody saying, you can still do this. You can still do it. Just keep going. I don't know where that's found. It's not found. And so that's what I really wanted to make sure captured in the book. And it can be found on Amazon. It's under $10. You just search Before the First Day, Randy Richards. And
All right. Now, you brought up your first day teaching. All right. Your first year teaching.
Yeah.
So tell me about your first day in the classroom when you turned on the lights and you walked in and then it was just you. Like, what was the day?
It was like, okay, I'm here. Because I had just left corporate America. I was working for an interbroker dealer in the city. So I was teaching in the Bronx. So I walked in and I was dressed for my previous work. I had heels on and I had a skirt suit. And I walked in my first day. The kids were good. They were sixth grade at the time, math and science. And they were good. And so I would go up and down the rows. Didn't know what I was looking for. Just, hey, how are you? Going on. Thanks for coming. And then I quickly realized, okay, wait a minute. It's more than just keeping kids in their seats. Because that wasn't the issue. It was everything else. It was just, how do I teach? How do kids are learning? And then I got put into an 8th grade class that I was co-teaching with the AP. And he went down in the room. Oh, I hated that class. I didn't hate the kids. I hated the experience of it because it just made me feel like I made a mistake, right? I made a mistake. And so it was that same AP who gave me the encouragement, and he was my mentor. And then I later found out he left me in the room on purpose. And I was like, he was like, yeah, but you didn't go anywhere. You didn't leave. And that counts for something. I said, okay, it's in reverse psychology, but all right, I'm going to run with it. I said, all right, we'll keep going with it. But it wasn't miserable. It was the most, it's cliche, but it was the most challenging and rewarding thing that I did that year. I kind of thought, but I made a decision, right? Because at the end of the day, it comes down to a decision. I made a decision that my second year, I was going to be the same. My second year, these kids going to listen, right? My second year, I'm going to be better for them. I'm going to figure it out on the systems that works for them, right? Because that first year was crazy, but you also had kids running up to me. I did this great job. And I'm just like, all right, that's cool. But it was defining for me because I knew if I didn't stick it out the next year, I was determined this is where we're supposed to be.
Gotcha. So you're in a transition like yourself. You're in a new situation where you have stuck it out. You've been dropped in the grease, as I like to call it, and you're in a transition like myself. And so now there is a new mindset that we have to approach education with. Let's talk about what is your future plans moving forward and how are you going to support educators?
Great questions. There's some ventures that I'm entering into that are independent. The scope is the same. It's still going to be surrounding teacher professional development, some administrative coaching and support. Like, how do I really coach and find a good balance between holding my teachers accountable, but then also ensuring that I'm scaffolding support? What does that look like? So I'm partnering with some colleagues of mine to get that up and going. I don't have 100% clarity yet. And I'm okay with that, though. This particular experience here is more than just this experience. This is something that transcends just work. It's really being able to apply, being flexible, being forward thinking, but also having this absolute resolute resolve that regardless of what, I'm going to stay in this field and I'm going to continue to impact futures, ultimately students at the end of the day. For me, whatever that looks like, those things have to be true. They have to be true.
Excellent. I love when you put that. Just to give a little context for those who are listening, this is a worldwide program. Let me give you a little bit of knowledge. In the state of Texas, we had a $33 billion surplus, and our Texas legislator did not fund schools. And therefore, we are what you call a reduction in force. I myself was reduced in force as well as Ms. Richards. And so now we're on the new urge of how we're going to share our expertise, in which we've learned over the years. That's not a bad thing. That's great. And what this has allowed us to do is to fall back on creative processes that we went to school for. And so not only that, but to share knowledge and expertise in ways that we're not necessarily tied down. Ms. Richards, could you share with a new administrator who may be caught up in the same situation as you are? I think we're a little bit seasoned. You have some really great stuff going on. You are also writing a blog for the teaching channel, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what are some things you can share with a new administrator who's just maybe in the same role that we are?
It's a great question. I think you have to really determine what's the hill you're going to die on. And I think you have to find a line for yourself. Like, where is that line going to be? That's going to where you're not going to cross who you are as a person. Because at the end of the day, you're still a person. You come there for support. You have to continue to build yourself up. What are the things you need to be successful in this situation here so that your bottom line is still supported your students, right? And your teachers have what they need. You have to really think about day to day, right? And emotionally, how are you going to manage yourself? Because you can't lead by just your feelings. That's the big part of it, right? You're going to get mad, real mad. But you got to rein in those feelings and really think about strategically what needs to be done right here, right now. And a lot of that is moment by moment. You can have a big plan for the year, but it comes down to what are you going to do moment by moment when you're faced in those situations. And so I want to say you don't need to have all the answers. However, you need to think about what is the process that's going to help you get to those answers that you need to know.
That's age wisdom. I love that. And again, every time I talk to you, I learn something new, not on purpose, not like you just going to go preach sermons or nothing like that. It's just every time that I talk to you, I learn something new and I love it. I appreciate your calmness. I appreciate how you approach things because you're not just talking. I've seen you do this, but you said people were watching and I was want to not watch you in a weird way, but as far as the way you and your team approach the work and how you interact with us, and this is the same person in which you would, and not everybody's able to be that way. So I appreciate that. Where you have your own consulting firm, can you let people know if they want to work you or mentor or be coached by you? What is your consulting firm's name?
Absolutely. So my consulting firm is called The Grain, Grain Rice the Grain LLC. You can feel free to email me at thegrainconsulting@gmail.com. And then hopefully we can connect in the future.
All right, so I have another podcast. It's called I'll Not Speak to the Principal. I'd love to have you on that show as well. Right?
Hey, this is good.
Right. You can come in on some panel talks. That's what I'm going to need some people because I'm going to be the one going left. And so I need you guys to somebody with some common sense to reel me in. Basically, that's really what it boils down to. Okay, guys. So here is where our show's coming to an end. Is there anything you want to wish anybody or say anything before we let you go?
I always love this question. I just want to say live on purpose. And that's so heavy, but live on purpose. That's really it.
All right. Well, thank you, Randy. We sure appreciate you having on.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. And there you have it, folks. An enlightening conversation with Randy Richards. From her transition from business world to the impactful journey in education, Randy has shared a wealth of knowledge that we all can learn from. Her dedication to providing a clear and kind and actionable feedback highlights just how powerful a compassionate approach to education can be. Whether you're a teacher or an administrator or even considering a career change into education, Randy's story and advice are incredibly inspiring. So make sure to check out her consultancy firm, the Grain LLC, for more insights and resources. And don't forget to grab a copy of her book, Before the First Day, which is a must-read for both new and experienced educators looking to make a positive impact from day one. I want to thank you for joining us on this episode of the Flipboard EDU podcast. If you enjoyed today's discussion, then please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow educators. Let's keep the conversation going and continue to collaborate, communicate, and educate as we strive to be the best we can be in this ever-changing and evolving world of education. So until next time, family, remember, in every story, there's a plus on Flipboard.